In this session, we'll be discussing a new topic, that is function overloading. In Java, functions are also called method. So it is also called method overloading. That is same. In all object-oriented language, we have this feature. This is a feature of basically object-oriented programming system, wherein we can create more than one function with the same name, but we can identify each one by the parameters. The name can be same. In C programming or in older programming languages which is not object-oriented language, or those languages where we do not have this facility, in such languages, we cannot create more than one function by the same name. Now, suppose we have to, in a program, we have to make a function to add two numbers. We have to make a function to add three numbers, and we have to make a function to add four numbers. So in all those languages where we do not have method overloading feature, we will create functions with a different name. Like in the orange box, you can see we can have one function to add two numbers. The name will be add two. Then we can have add functions to add three numbers, and the name of the function is add three. Similarly, to add four numbers, we have the name of the function as add four. So we have three different functions by different name. But in object-oriented language, like in Java, like in C++, we do not have to change the name of the function. We only have to change the name of the parameter or the number of the parameters. So in the green box, you can see we have three functions. Each of these functions have the same name. The name of the function is add. In the first function, we have two parameters. In the second function, we have three parameters. In the fourth function, we have four parameters. So function overloading or method overloading is a situation where we can have more than one function in a class by the same name but different parameter. This is called function overloading. I repeat, we can have more than one function in a class by same name but with different parameters. The names are same, the parameters are different. So when we use this in the program, how will the computer understand which function is to be used in any particular situation? So it will match the number of parameters. So when we are invoking the function or using the function with two parameters, this function will be called. When we are invoking the function with three parameters, this will be called. And when we are using the function with four parameters, this function will be called. In case of multiple constructor, we have already discussed in the previous session. Constructors are also functions. So multiple constructor in a class is also an example of function overloading. So function overloading is a very important concept of object-oriented programming languages, wherein we can have more than one function in a class by the same name, but with different parameters. This is one of the important feature of object-oriented programming languages. So what is the advantage? Why will we create? In this situation, you can see we do not have to remember the names of all the functions. We only have to remember that there is an add function, and whatever parameter we'll pass, it will automatically adjust and use that function which is required by the user in the program. So this is the definition of function overloading or method overloading in object-oriented programming system. We can have more than one function in a class by the same name, but with different parameters. This is called function overloading. Now, let us come to the programming part. Let us see how we write programs in function overloading. So I have already written one program here. Now, in this program, you can see we have a class by the name shape. And in this class, we have two functions by the name area. We have area function starting at line number 3. We have area function starting at line number 9. So we have same function. The name of the function is area, but we have different parameters. First area function has one parameter, that is the radius. And second area function has two parameters, that is the length and the width. Now, when from the main function, when we call the first function, it will calculate the area of the circle. See, we have created two objects. Shape has circle object and shape has rectangle object. Now, from the circle object, when we call the area function, it assumes the value to be that of radius. And when we call from the rectangle, when we call the area function, the two values are considered to be length and width. Let me uh, explain this once more. In this shape class, you can see in this shape class, we have two functions, area. Both these two functions are by the same name. What is the name? The name is area. But what is the difference in these two functions? The first function has only one parameter and the second function has two parameters. So first area function will calculate the area of the circle and second will calculate area of the rectangle. Now, in case of non-object oriented languages, we will have to create two different functions by two different names, area of circle, then area of rectangle. Here, we do not have to create two different functions by two different names. Only the name area is okay. What we are, how we are differentiating? We are differentiating with the number of parameters. Now here in the main, we are creating shape circle equals to new shape. So we have one object as circle, and then we are creating another object of the shape class, that is a rectangle. So we have two objects of the shape class. This is the shape class. We have two objects. First object is circle and the second object is rectangle. Now, when we call the area function with the circle object, we pass only one value. So what will happen? This will automatically call the first function that is defined at line number 2. So this function will go here at line number 2 and it will print the area of the circle, assuming 5.5 to be the radius of the circle. In Java, whenever we write a float value, we write F with it so that the compiler identifies that it is a float value. Now, in the with the second object, we are also calling with the rectangle object, we are also calling the area function. But what we are passing the length and the width. We are passing two values. So it will automatically call this function that is at line number 7 here. So it will print the area of the rectangle. So this is how we make object-oriented programming language. We make use of function overloadings to create only function by one name but with different parameters. Let us now run this program. Let us see what is the output coming. Okay. So you can see the output as area of rectangle. It is only printing area of rectangle. Why it is not printing area of circle? Circle, area of circle and area. Let us try to. So now you can see the area of circle as 9.94.985 and area of rectangle is 35.75. So first function is calculating the area of circle and the second function is calculating the area of rectangle. This is the complete program on your screen with the output. We have two functions in the program. The functions are in the shape class and we are creating two objects of the shape class. First object is circle, second object is rectangle. Then we are calling the area functions. With the circle, when we are calling the area function, it is printing the circle of area of circle. And when we are calling the area function with the rectangle object, it is printing area of rectangle. So there is one example. You can see we have only one function name, area, and parameters are different. Now I'll use one more example. Let us see another example of method overloading. Method overloading example 2.java. Now in this program, we'll write class, suppose maths, or I'll write cal8. Calculations. One function is add. This takes two parameters, integer number 1, integer number 2, and this function adds two numbers. Then we'll have one more function. The name is same. You can see we have the same name, but we have parameters are different. Now here we have integer n1, n2, and integer n3. That means we have three parameters. So what is happening here? It will print the sum of n1 plus n2. I'll write system dot out. Sum is equals to n1 plus n2. Sum of sum of two numbers. Now, in this case, here, you can see once more, we have sum of three numbers. What are the three numbers? N1 plus N2 plus N3. Okay. Now here we'll have public static now suppose we create calculations class object obj is equals to new calculations. With the spelling is calculations. Calculations obj calculations. Calculations, calculations, and calculations. Okay. Now you see here obj dot. If we call the add function and we pass only two values, then it will call first function. So if instead of two values, I pass three values, then what will happen? It will automatically understand that we have to call this function from the parameter. So in object-oriented programming language, the methods, the functions are identified by the name as well as with the parameter. In those languages where function overloading is not allowed, so whenever we use the function, whenever we call the functions are matched through the name only. They do not consider the parameter to link the function call and the function definition. Here, this line is called the function call. Here we are calling the function, and these are the function definitions. So in object-oriented programming, the function call and the function definition are linked by the name as well as by the parameter. In non-object-oriented language, it is only linked to the function name. The parameters are not matched. Now, what will happen if we run this program? It will print the sum of 5, 6, and 7. That will give the value as sum of three numbers equals to 18. You can see it is giving sum of three numbers equals to 18. I'll just change the parameter. I'll pass two values. Same function, I pass two values. So now it will give sum of two numbers. You can see. So this is function overloading. And the advantage is that we do not have to remember the name of many functions, because in large program, there will be many functions. So in like in a banking program, there will be interest and the interest will be calculated for different situations. So whenever we are calculating interest, we do not have to remember all the functions. What we remember, only the interest function will calculate interest. When we pass the parameters will decide which functions will be used in the program. So this is a short topic, but a very important one. This is method overloading.